The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Galactic Council station. Noah Mason pressed his hand against the clear barrier that separated him from the vacuum of space. At 12 years old, he was the youngest human to ever set foot on the massive station orbiting Proxima Centauri b. His mother always told him he was making history just by being here. But Noah didn't feel very historic. He just felt small. "Don't smudge the quantum glass," his mother said, looking up from her tablet. Dr. Ellie Mason was one of Earth's top xenolinguists, which meant she studied alien languages. She had neat brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and tired eyes that never stopped moving, taking in every detail. The Valturians consider it disrespectful. Noah pulled his hand away quickly. "Sorry." "It's okay. Just remember we're guests here." She smiled at him, but Noah could tell she was stressed. The blue visitor badge hanging from her neck marked them as outsiders, mere observers in the Grand Council that governed 7 advanced alien civilizations. Humans were the new kids, only invited because they had finally figured out faster-than-light travel 2 years ago. A soft chime echoed through the deck, and his mother sighed. "That's my signal. The council session is starting in 20 minutes. Can I come this time?" Noah asked, though he already knew the answer. "Not today. These are sensitive trade negotiations." She handed him a small device. "Here's your station map. Stay in the public areas and be back at our quarters by dinner time." Noah nodded, trying not to show his disappointment. His summer vacation was turning out to be a lot of waiting around while adults talked about boring things like resource allocation and non-interference protocols. "I'll see you tonight," his mother said, ruffling his dark hair before hurrying off toward the diplomatic sector. Noah wandered through the station's massive public concourse. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around him, tall, crystalline, Synthari that sparkled under the lights, bulky Calarians with their 4 arms and rumbling voices, wispy morph collectives that looked like colorful fog bound together in roughly humanoid shapes. None of them paid much attention to the human. Boy, why would they? Humans were barely worth noticing to species that had been crossing the stars for thousands of years. After buying a sweet drink that tasted like blueberries mixed with cinnamon from a food vendor, Noah found himself drawn to a quieter part of the concourse. A small crowd had gathered around a holographic display. Floating in the center was a perfect replica of a large black cube covered in strange markings that shifted and changed as he watched. Noah moved closer, squeezing between a pair of Drev hives, insect-like beings that communicated through clicks and pheromones. A plaque beside the display was written in multiple languages, including English. "The Endless Enigma," Noah read aloud. "Discovered 10,000 years ago. Origin unknown. Purpose unknown. Contains complex mathematical linguistic patterns believed to be a riddle or puzzle. Unsolved." "Fascinating, isn't it?" said a voice beside him. Noah turned to see a human man in a security uniform. His badge identified him as Officer Alan Powell. He was tall with kind eyes and dark skin. "What is it?" Noah asked. "The greatest mystery in the galaxy," Officer Powell said. "The actual cube is kept at a research station orbiting a neutron star, but this is a perfect replica of the surface patterns. The council races have been trying to decode it for millennia." Noah stared at the shifting symbols. They reminded him of the puzzle games he played back on Earth. The way the marks flowed and changed seemed almost like, "It's moving with the viewers," he said suddenly. Officer Powell looked puzzled. "What do you mean?" "The symbols. They're responding to the people watching it." Noah pointed as a section of symbols rearranged after a group of Calarians moved to a different position. The security officer squinted. "I don't see anything different." Noah bit his lip. Adults never really listened when he talked about patterns. Back home, his teachers just said he had an active imagination. Even his mother, who studied alien languages for a living, sometimes got that glazed look when he tried to explain how he could see connections in things. "Never mind," Noah said, but he couldn't tear his eyes away from the cube. For the next 3 days, Noah returned to the holographic display, while his mother attended council sessions. He brought his tablet and made notes, tracking how the symbols changed depending on who was viewing them and from which angle. It wasn't random. Nothing about it was random. On the fourth day, Noah brought his lunch to eat while watching the cube. Officer Powell spotted him and came over. "Back again?" the security officer asked. "Most kids your age would be checking out the simulator rides in the recreation sector. This is more interesting," Noah said through a mouthful of sandwich. "I think it's talking," Powell chuckled. "Thousands of the brightest minds in the galaxy have studied this thing. If it was talking, don't you think they'd know by now?" Noah shrugged. "Maybe they're not listening right." That night Noah couldn't sleep. The patterns from the cube kept dancing behind his eyelids. He finally gave up, turned on his light, and began drawing what he remembered on his tablet. It wasn't just a puzzle to be solved. It was a conversation waiting to happen. The next morning, he tugged on his mother's sleeve as she prepared to leave for another session. "Mom, I need to show you something." "Honey, I'm already running late. Can it wait until tonight?" "It's about the endless enigma. I think I figured something out." His mother froze. "What did you say?" "That black cube everyone's trying to solve. I think it's not a riddle, it's a conversation. But you have to answer in the right pattern." Dr. Mason studied her son's face carefully. "Show me." Noah pulled up his tablet and displayed his notes. His mother's eyes widened as she scrolled through his observations. "Noah, this is remarkable pattern recognition. How did you see this?" "It just made sense," he said with a shrug. "The symbols change based on who's looking at them and how they move. It's responding, Mom, like it's trying to have a conversation but nobody's answering back." Dr. Mason's scientific mind kicked into high gear. "If you're right, this could change everything we think we know about the enigma." She made a quick call, canceling her council session appearance. Instead, they spent the entire day in their quarters, working through Noah's theory. By evening, they had constructed what they believed was a proper response pattern. "We need to test this," his mother said, her voice trembling with excitement. "But we'll need permission to access the communication protocols for the holographic display." "Will they give it to us?" Noah asked. His mother looked uncertain. "We're just observers here, and you're a child. They might not take this seriously. But what if I'm right?" Dr. Mason stared at the response pattern they had created together. Then a determined look crossed her face. "Then we're about to make history for real." She placed a call to Ambassador Ben Howard, the head of the human delegation. Noah watched as his mother explained their theory, her words coming faster and faster as her excitement grew. The ambassador's image on the screen looked skeptical at first, then intrigued, and finally shocked. "You understand what you're asking, Ellie?" the ambassador said. "If we bring this to the council and we're wrong, then I'll resign my position and we'll go home," she said firmly. "But Ben, look at these patterns." Noah found something everyone else missed. The ambassador sighed deeply. "I'll request an emergency audience for tomorrow morning. I hope you know what you're doing." After the call ended, Noah's mother hugged him tightly. "Whatever happens tomorrow, I'm incredibly proud of you." Noah nodded, his stomach doing nervous flips. Tomorrow they would face the Galactic Council, the most powerful beings in the known universe, and all because he couldn't stop staring at a puzzle that no one else could solve. He just hoped he wasn't completely wrong about everything. Noah couldn't eat breakfast. His stomach felt like it was tied in knots. In 2 hours he would stand before the Galactic Council with his mother. The thought made his hands shake so badly that he spilled his juice. "It's okay to be nervous," Dr. Mason said, handing him a cloth to clean up the mess. She looked nervous too, straightening her formal uniform for the 5th time. "Just remember to speak clearly and explain your observations exactly like you explained them to me." Noah nodded, not trusting his voice. What if the council laughed at him? What if they got angry that a human child was questioning their smartest scientists? A chime at their door announced the arrival of Ambassador Howard. The tall man wore Earth's diplomatic colors and a serious expression. "Are you both ready?" he asked. I've arranged for Officer Powell to accompany us as well, since Noah knows him. When they stepped into the hallway, Officer Powell gave Noah an encouraging smile. Don't worry, kid. The worst they can do is say no. The council chamber was the largest room Noah had ever seen. A massive dome of something like glass arched overhead, showing the stars and the curve of Proxima Centauri b below. 7 raised platforms formed a circle, each holding representatives from the 7 major galactic species. In the center was a smaller platform where speakers could address the council. Ambassador Howard led Noah and his mother to this central platform. Noah felt tiny under the gaze of the alien council members, the Valturians, with their silvery skin and 4 eyes, the crystalline Zinthari that sparkled and hummed, the insect-like Drev hives with their clicking mandibles, the ancient Eld, who looked almost human except for their golden eyes and long lifespans, the Calarians with their 4 massive arms, the wispy morph collectives that constantly shifted shape, and the machine-like synthesian networks with their glowing eyes. The head counselor, a Valturian named Vex, spoke first. The human delegation has requested this emergency session regarding the endless enigma. A most unusual request. Their voice was deep and seemed to vibrate in Noah's chest. Explain yourselves. Ambassador Howard stepped forward. Esteemed Council, thank you for granting us this audience. Dr. Ellie Mason, our xenolinguistics expert, and her son Noah have made a potentially groundbreaking discovery regarding the nature of the enigma. A harsh sound like breaking glass came from the Zinthari platform. High Counselor Zith was vibrating in what Noah guessed was laughter. You bring a child before this council? The crystalline being's voice rang like bells. The human species tests our patience with this display. Noah's mother squared her shoulders. Esteemed counselors, my son noticed a pattern in the enigma symbols that our scientists have missed. We believe the artifact is not a static puzzle, but a responsive communication system. The council chamber filled with murmurs and clicks and hums as the various species reacted. Impossible, said Counselor Zith. Our greatest minds have studied the enigma for thousands of years. And yet, said the ancient Eld representative Counselor Trell, we have made no progress. Perhaps we should listen. Noah's mother turned to him and nodded, his cue to speak. His mouth went dry. The symbols change, he said, his voice coming out as a squeak. He cleared his throat and tried again. The symbols on the cube change based on who's looking at them and how they move. Nonsense, Zith interrupted. The patterns shift according to complex mathematical cycles that repeat every 27.3 hours. No, Noah said, finding courage as he talked about the patterns he'd seen. They respond to viewers. I watched for days. When a group of Calarians moved to the left side of the display, the symbols in Section 3 rearranged. When Drev Hives approached from the right, a different pattern appeared. He pulled out his tablet and projected his notes onto the central display. The council chamber went quiet as his observations appeared in the air for all to see. The cube isn't a puzzle, Noah continued. It's trying to have a conversation, but no one is answering in the right way. The Eld counselor leaned forward. And you believe you know the right way to answer? Noah's mother stepped in. We've constructed what we believe is a proper response pattern based on Noah's observations. We request permission to test our theory using the communication protocols linked to the holographic display. This is absurd, Counselor Zith vibrated angrily. You expect us to believe a human child has solved what our greatest minds could not? Counselor Vex raised a hand for silence. What harm is there in allowing the test? At worst, nothing happens. And we continue as before. After much debate, the council voted. 4 species voted to allow the test, 2 voted against, and 1 abstained. Noah could hardly believe it when Counselor Vex announced their decision. The human delegation is granted 1 attempt to test their theory. The holographic display will be connected to the real Enigma's communication systems for a period of 1 standard hour. Technicians quickly set up the necessary equipment. The holographic cube now floated directly in front of Noah, larger and more detailed than the public display had been. Are you ready? His mother whispered. Noah nodded, though his heart was racing. A synthesian network technician handed him a control pad. Input your response pattern here, the mechanical voice instructed. The system will transmit it to the actual enigma. Noah took a deep breath and carefully entered the sequence he and his mother had developed. His fingers moved across the alien interface, following the patterns he had memorized. When he finished, he pressed the activation button. Nothing happened. The chamber was silent. Noah felt tears building in his eyes. He had been wrong after all. He had embarrassed his mother, Ambassador Howard, and all of humanity in front of the Galactic Council. "Wait," said the Eld Counselor, pointing. A small section of symbols on the cube began to shift in a new pattern. Then another section changed, and another. Soon the entire cube was alive with movement symbols flowing and changing faster than Noah could follow. "It's responding," Noah whispered in awe. The cube suddenly pulsed with a soft golden light. A new set of symbols appeared, holding steady. "Can you understand what it's saying?" Ambassador Howard asked. Noah studied the new pattern. I think it's asking who I am." Without waiting for permission, Noah entered a new sequence introducing himself in the cube's symbolic language. The response was immediate. The cube pulsed again, brighter this time. "By the first stars," breathed Counselor Trell of the Eld. "The boy has established communication with the enigma." Even Counselor Zith had fallen silent, the crystalline being frozen in shock. "Noah," his mother said, her voice filled with pride. "You did it." For the next hour, Noah conversed with the cube, learning its symbolic language as he went. It was like a game, each exchange teaching him more about how to communicate with the ancient artifact. The council watched in stunned silence as the human boy did what their civilizations had failed to do for 10,000 years. When the communication session ended, the council chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had ignored humans now crowded around Noah, asking questions faster than he could answer them. Through it all, Noah kept thinking about one thing. The cube had told him its name. Not endless enigma, but something else. A word he could barely pronounce. Precursor, he whispered to himself. And somewhere in deep space, orbiting a neutron star, the ancient artifact had awakened after 10 millennia of waiting for the right conversation partner. The next 3 days passed in a blur for Noah. After his successful communication with the cube, the precursor as he now knew it was called, everything changed. The human delegation was moved from their small visitor quarters to a large suite in the diplomatic wing. Scientists from all 7 council species wanted to talk with him. His mother looked both proud and worried as she tried to manage the flood of attention. "You need to rest," Dr. Mason insisted on the evening of the 3rd day. She had just turned away a group of Calarian researchers who wanted Noah to explain again how he had recognized the patterns. "You've been talking all day." Noah nodded tiredly. His head hurt from trying to explain something that just seemed obvious to him. "When can we talk to the precursor again?" "Tomorrow," his mother said. "The council has voted to allow us direct access to the research station where the actual cube is kept." Noah sat up straight, suddenly not tired at all. "We're going to see the real thing?" "Yes. Ambassador Howard just confirmed it. We leave in the morning on a Valturian transport ship." She smiled at his excitement. "But that means you need to sleep now." Sleep didn't come easily. Noah's mind raced with questions. Why had the precursor responded to him? What did it want to tell them? Who had created it? When he finally drifted off, he dreamed of floating through space, surrounded by golden symbols that spoke to him in a language he somehow understood. The Valturian transport ship was sleek and silver, much faster than any human ship. Officer Powell came along as their security escort. The research station orbited a neutron star, a dense ball of matter left over after a massive star died in a supernova explosion. Noah pressed his face against the viewing port as they approached. The station was built by the Zinthari 5,000 years ago, Officer Powell explained. It's been continuously studying the precursor ever since. The station itself looked like a giant metal wheel spinning slowly in space. As they docked, Noah noticed Zinthari guards watching them closely. It seemed not everyone was happy about humans visiting this important place. The station director, a tall Zinthari named Lith, met them at the docking bay. The crystalline being vibrated with barely contained annoyance. "Welcome to Research Station. Enigma," Lith said without warmth. "The human child will be closely monitored at all times. Any attempt to damage the artifact will result in immediate removal. Noah discovered what your researchers missed for 5,000 years, Officer Powell said sharply. Maybe show a little respect. Lith's crystal body flashed with blue light. Anger, Noah guessed. Without another word, the director led them through the station's winding corridors. They finally entered a large circular room. In the center, floating in a field of energy, was the real precursor cube. It was much bigger than Noah had expected, at least 15 feet on each side. The black surface shifted with golden symbols, more vivid and complex than the holographic version. "It's beautiful," Noah whispered. A team of researchers from different species worked at stations around the room. One of them, an older eld with golden eyes, approached them with a friendly smile. "Welcome, Noah Mason. I am scientist Nalara, lead researcher on the communication team." Unlike the Zinthari director, she seemed genuinely pleased to see them. "Your discovery has given us hope after centuries of frustration." Noah liked her immediately. "Have you tried communicating with it?" "Since we left the council station," scientist Nalara nodded. "We have attempted to use the patterns you showed us, but with limited success. The precursor responds, but only briefly before falling silent again." "It's like it's waiting for Noah specifically," Dr. Mason said. Director Lith made a sound like breaking glass. "Absurd. The artifact was created thousands of years before humans evolved beyond primitive tool use. It cannot possibly have a preference for this child." "Let's find out," Noah suggested. He approached the control panel nearest to the cube. The symbols on the precursor began to shift faster as he got closer. "It's already responding to your presence," scientist Nalara observed with wonder. Director Lith vibrated with agitation but said nothing as Noah was given access to the communication system. Noah took a deep breath and entered the greeting pattern he had used before. The entire cube pulsed with golden light, much stronger than it had on the council station. New symbols flowed across its surface, forming a pattern Noah somehow understood. "It says the seeker returns. Now we may begin," Noah translated. "Begin what?" his mother asked. Noah entered the question using the symbolic language he was learning. The cube's response appeared instantly. "The exchange," Noah read. "It wants to share information with us. It says it's a library?" "No, that's not quite right. A seed? A gift from those who came before." For the next several hours, Noah communicated with the precursor. The scientists recorded everything, growing more excited as the cube revealed its purpose. It had been created by an ancient species that had reached a level of development far beyond even the oldest council races. Before they departed the galaxy, they had left behind repositories of knowledge, the precursors, for younger species to find when they were ready. "But why did it wait so long to communicate?" Dr. Mason asked. Noah relayed the question. The cube's answer made him gasp. "It says it was waiting for a mind that could see patterns without being taught," Noah explained. "The creators believed that only species with that ability would be able to use their knowledge safely." Director Lith vibrated skeptically. "And it found this quality in humans? A species that has barely mastered interstellar travel?" The cube pulsed before Noah could reply. New symbols raced across its surface. "It says the ability isn't related to technological advancement," Noah translated. "It's about how you think, not what you've built." He paused, trying to understand the next part. "It says the council races approach problems by applying known solutions. Humans, we look for new patterns even when we don't know what we're looking for." Scientist Nalara nodded slowly. "The child sees what we have missed. We approach the cube as a puzzle with a solution. He approaches it as a new form of communication to be discovered." Officer Powell smiled proudly. "That's our human advantage. We're curious in ways that don't always make sense. The cube pulsed again, stronger this time. A beam of golden light shot out from its surface, touching Noah's forehead. Everyone in the room froze. "Noah!" his mother cried out, rushing forward. But Noah didn't feel afraid. The light was warm, almost friendly. In his mind, he suddenly saw images and ideas he couldn't possibly understand. Technology beyond imagination, science that seemed like magic, and history stretching back millions of years. When the light faded, Noah stumbled backward. "Officer." Powell caught him before he fell. "Are you okay?" his mother asked, checking him for injuries. "I'm fine," Noah said, blinking. "It gave me something. Knowledge, I think, but I can't understand most of it yet." Director Lith was suddenly very interested. "What knowledge? What did it show you?" Before Noah could answer, the cube pulsed one more time. A new message appeared on its surface. "It says this is just the beginning," Noah translated. "The precursor network is awakening throughout the galaxy. There are more of them out there waiting to be found." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this news. Humanity had just gone. From being the newest, least important species in the Council, to potentially holding the key to the greatest discovery in galactic history. And it had all started because a bored 12-year-old boy had noticed a pattern that everyone else had missed. News of the precursor's awakening spread quickly through the galaxy. Within a week, the research station became crowded with scientists and diplomats from all Council species. Noah found himself at the center of it all, working daily with the cube while others watched and recorded every interaction. "How does your head feel today?" his mother asked one morning as they prepared for another session. Her eyes showed worry. Since the beam of light had touched Noah, she had been carefully monitoring him for any changes. "It's okay," Noah said. "The pictures in my mind are getting clearer. Some of them make sense now." This was true. At night, when he closed his eyes, Noah saw strange diagrams and equations that were slowly becoming understandable, as if his brain was gradually learning to process the information the precursor had given him. Officer Powell escorted them to the cube chamber. The room was more crowded than usual. Noah recognized Ambassador Howard as well as representatives from each Council species. In the corner, Director Lith vibrated nervously. "What's going on?" Dr. Mason asked scientist Nalara, who greeted them at the door. "The Galactic Council has called an emergency meeting," Nalara explained. "With your son's help, we've confirmed the existence of at least 20 more precursor artifacts throughout the galaxy. Ships are being dispatched to investigate them." Noah felt a flutter of excitement. "Has anyone found one yet?" "A Valturian exploration vessel located one yesterday in the Helios sector," Nalara said. "But they cannot activate it. It appears that all precursors require the same communication method that you discovered." Ambassador Howard approached them. "The Council is reconsidering Earth's status. If humans are the key to unlocking the precursor network, we can no longer be kept as mere observers." Noah didn't fully understand the politics, but he could tell this was important by the way the adults spoke in hushed, serious tones. "Will we get to go home soon?" Noah asked his mother. Despite the excitement, he missed Earth, his friends, and his normal life. Before she could answer, the cube began to pulse. The golden symbol swirled faster than Noah had ever seen before. "It's trying to tell us something," Noah said, hurrying to the communication panel. He entered a query, asking what was happening. The cube's response made him gasp. "It says another precursor has been fully activated in the, I don't know this word, maybe distant void." Scientist Nalara looked confused. "That's impossible. None of the exploration teams have reported success." The cube pulsed again, more urgently. New symbols appeared. "The activation wasn't done by the Council races," Noah translated slowly. "It says there's another species, one not in the Council. They've awakened a precursor using a different method." The room erupted in alarmed conversation. The idea of an unknown species accessing the ancient knowledge was clearly disturbing to the Council representatives. "Ask it where this is happening," Ambassador Howard instructed. Noah entered the question. The cube's surface rippled, and a section transformed into what looked like a star map. A bright point pulsed on the edge of a spiral arm. "That's in uncharted space," scientist Nalara said, studying the map. "Beyond the Council's territory." Director Lith pushed forward. "This is a security crisis. If an unknown species gains access to precursor technology before us, the balance of power in the galaxy could shift dramatically. We should send a diplomatic mission immediately," Ambassador Howard suggested. "Establish contact before misunderstandings occur." While the adults argued, Noah continued communicating with the cube. The symbols it showed him were increasingly complex, but somehow he understood them better than before. "The cube says the other species isn't hostile," Noah announced, interrupting the heated discussion. "They activated the precursor through music. Their minds work differently than ours or the Council races." Everyone turned to stare at him. "Music?" his mother repeated. Noah nodded. "They communicate primarily through harmonics and tones. They found a different pattern in the precursor. Symbols." Scientist Nalara looked intrigued. "So there are multiple ways to activate these artifacts?" "Yes," Noah said. "The cube says the creators made them responsive to different types of intelligence. Some through visual patterns like I found, some through sound patterns, others through methods we don't have words for." This news changed the tone of the discussion. Instead of fear about a potential threat, the representatives now debated how to approach a potential new ally. Ambassador Howard made a decision. "We will send a diplomatic vessel to establish contact. Dr. Mason, we would like you to lead the xenolinguistics team." "Me?" Noah's mother looked surprised. "You and your son have proven uniquely qualified for communication challenges," the ambassador explained. "Noah's insight will be invaluable." As the meeting continued, Noah's attention was drawn back to the cube. It pulsed with a gentle rhythm, almost as if it were pleased. "What else can you tell me?" Noah asked it in the symbol language. The cube's response was surprising. It showed images of stars and planets, of strange beings with forms Noah could barely comprehend. It showed a network of precursors spanning the entire galaxy, each waiting to share different pieces of ancient knowledge. Then it showed Earth, not as it was now, but as it could be. A world where humans worked alongside other species, building wonders that Noah could barely understand. "It's showing me the future," Noah whispered to his mother when she came to check on him. "Or at least a possible future." That evening, as news spread of the diplomatic mission being organized, Noah sat with Officer Powell in the station's observation lounge. The neutron star glowed in the distance, a tiny point of incredibly dense light. "Are you scared about meeting this new species?" Powell asked. Noah thought about it. "A little, but mostly I'm excited. The cube showed me that there are many different kinds of minds in the galaxy. We all see different patterns." Powell nodded. "That's a wise way to look at it." "I just hope they like humans," Noah said. "We're pretty new at all this." "You know what I think?" Powell smiled. "I think you've already proven that humans have something special to offer. You saw what no one else could see for thousands of years." Noah watched the stars beyond the station. Somewhere out there, another species was having their own first contact with the precursor knowledge. He wondered what they looked like, how they thought, what they dreamed about. For the first time since arriving at the Council Station, Noah didn't feel small anymore. The galaxy was vast, but now it felt full of possibilities rather than emptiness. The knowledge in his mind from the precursor continued to unfold, revealing glimpses of science and history that would take years to fully understand. But one thing was already clear. Humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning, and it would be more amazing than anyone had imagined. 2 months after Noah's discovery, the Galactic Council held its most important session in 1,000 years. The massive council chamber was packed with representatives from all 7 major species. For the first time, humans were not seated in the observer section but had their own platform between the Valturians and the Eld. Noah fidgeted in his formal Earth uniform. It was stiff and uncomfortable, but his mother had insisted he look his best today. Next to him sat Ambassador Howard and Dr. Mason, along with 5 other human diplomats who had arrived from Earth last week. "Stop pulling at your collar," his mother whispered. "It's too tight," Noah complained. "Just a few more hours," she promised. "Then we can go home." Home. The word filled Noah with both excitement and sadness. After today's session, they would finally return to Earth. Part of him couldn't wait to see his friends and sleep in his own bed again, but another part would miss the wonders he had seen in space. High Counselor Vex of the Valturians rose to speak. The chamber fell silent. "Today marks a significant moment in galactic history," Vex's deep voice echoed. "For 10,000 years, the 7 systems have guided the development of civilization in this sector of the galaxy. Now we welcome an 8th voice to our council." Noah watched as Ambassador Howard stood and bowed deeply. The official announcement had been decided weeks ago, but hearing it still made Noah's heart race with pride. Earth was being granted full council membership, bypassing centuries of the usual probationary period. "The human species has demonstrated a unique perspective that complements our own," Counselor Vex continued. "Their discovery and activation of the precursor network has opened new avenues of knowledge for all species. Even Counselor Zith of the Zinthari, once so dismissive of humans, vibrated in the pattern that indicated agreement. In the past 2 months, exploration ships had confirmed the existence of 37 precursor artifacts throughout the galaxy. Each contained different knowledge, each required a different approach to activation. And we recognize especially the contribution of Noah Mason," Counselor Vex said, turning toward him, "whose mind saw patterns that our greatest scholars missed for millennia." Noah felt his face grow hot as all eyes in the chamber turned to him. He gave a small, awkward wave, unsure what else to do. The ceremony continued, with speeches from each council member. Noah tried to pay attention, but his mind kept drifting to the precursor knowledge that continued to unfold in his thoughts. Each day, more of it became clear to him. Scientific concepts, mathematical formulas, and historical records from a civilization that had explored the galaxy millions of years before any current species. His thoughts were interrupted when Counselor Trell of the Eld approached their platform. The ancient being's golden eyes regarded Noah kindly. "Young Mason, the council has a request to make of you before you return to Earth." Noah sat up straighter. "What kind of request?" "We have established contact with the musical species from uncharted space," Trell explained. "They call themselves the Harmonious Collective. They have agreed to meet with our representatives, and they have specifically asked to meet you." "Me?" Noah was surprised. "Why would they want to meet me?" Trell smiled. "They believe that anyone who could activate a precursor as you did must share a similar gift to their own. They see you as a kindred mind." Noah looked at his mother, who nodded encouragingly. "The diplomatic vessel leaves tomorrow," Counselor Trell continued. "It would delay your return to Earth by approximately 2 weeks. "Can my mom come too?" Noah asked. "Of course. Dr. Mason's expertise will be valuable to the mission." Noah didn't need to think long. "Then I'll go." The rest of the council session passed in a blur. When it ended, Noah and his mother walked with Officer Powell through the concourse of the station for what might be the last time. "I hear you're off on another adventure before heading home," Powell said. Noah nodded. "To meet the music aliens. Will you come with us?" Powell smiled. "Actually, yes. I've been assigned as security for the mission. Someone has to keep you out of trouble." They stopped at the observation deck where Noah had first arrived months ago. The stars looked different to him now, not distant and cold, but full of possibilities and wonders waiting to be discovered. "Do you think we'll find more precursors?" Noah asked. "I'm sure of it," his mother said. "The cube said there could be hundreds, maybe thousands scattered throughout the galaxy. And each one needs a different kind of mind to unlock it," Noah added. "That's why the makers created so many. They knew that no single species could understand everything." Powell leaned against the barrier. "You know, before all this happened, most of the council species thought humans were too emotional, too impulsive to be good galactic citizens. They saw our curiosity as a weakness. Now they see it as a strength, Dr. Mason said. Your discovery changed how they view humanity, Noah. Noah shrugged. I just noticed a pattern. Anyone could have seen it. But no one did, Powell pointed out. Not for 10,000 years. That night, Noah packed his few belongings for the journey to meet the Harmonious Collective. As he worked, he felt a familiar sensation, the precursor, knowledge shifting in his mind, revealing new connections and ideas. He sat on his bed and closed his eyes, letting the images flow. He saw star systems he didn't recognize, technology that seemed like magic, and beings with forms he could barely comprehend. But more than that, he saw connections between species, between minds, between ways of thinking. The precursors hadn't just left behind knowledge. They had left a challenge for the younger species to learn to see beyond their own perspectives, to understand that different kinds of minds were not competitors but collaborators. Noah opened his eyes, feeling a new sense of purpose. His adventure wasn't ending with the council ceremony. In many ways, it was just beginning. The next morning, Noah, his mother, and Officer Powell boarded the diplomatic vessel bound for uncharted space. As the ship pulled away from the station, Noah watched through the viewing port as the massive structure grew smaller. Nervous? His mother asked, sitting beside him. A little, Noah admitted. But mostly excited. You know, when I brought you along on this trip, I thought it would just be educational, she said with a laugh. I never imagined you'd end up changing galactic history. Noah smiled. I just noticed something no one else saw. As the ship accelerated to faster than light speed, the stars stretched into lines of brilliant light. Noah thought about Earth, about his friends who wouldn't believe the stories he had to tell. He thought about the Harmonious Collective waiting to meet him and the other species out there that humanity had yet to encounter. Most of all, he thought about the patterns, in stars, in symbols, in music, in minds, that connected everything in the vast, wonderful universe, and he couldn't wait to discover more of them.